songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
Definitely too, just be not afraid to put yourself in certain situations and take on new things, not being afraid to fail, because then that's how you learn. And I think it's important as a leader to show your staff that they shouldn't be afraid to fail. Be willing to step up, try things without, severe repercussion, as long as, again, safety and liability is taken into consideration.
All right, there we go. We are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, the Leadership Series. I've got a special guest from the great state of Arizona, who is one of the top states, I believe, in parks and recreation. They, I think from a cultural standpoint, they invest pretty heavily in their parks and rec. They take them seriously over there in Arizona. Jody, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fighting this sinus infection, but I'm muscling through it, trudging along. Before we kick it off, I'd like to thank Outdoor Link. They're one of our primary sponsors and have been since the very beginning. We were just more or less conceptual, and but just as you have these kind of smart homes that have been around for a while, where your homes can detect when your iPhone's getting closer, and they just kind of start doing stuff on their own, turning on lights, garage door open, stuff like that. So imagine your entire park can be a smart park that's totally connected. So all of your splash pads, your bathroom doors, gates, baseball field lights can all be controlled from like an iPad or an iPhone or some central location, so that you don't have to hand out these infinite number of keys to coaches, to padlocks and stuff. So they help you do that. And then we're going to play again. I'm going to get as much mileage as I can out of our 400th episode. Thank you, because it still blows my mind that we've gotten 400 episodes recorded probably in the last 12 months. So thank you to all the guests like Jody that have come on the show to share their story and a lot of the wisdom and the love they have for the Parks and Rec industry. So Jovi, why don't you go ahead and play those two promos, and then we'll come right back and start our conversation with Jody.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
It didn't start with a studio, or a big budget, or a perfect plan. It started with belief. Belief that stories matter. Belief that voices deserve to be heard. Belief that community is powerful. What began as a single conversation has grown into something far bigger than us. Today we pause, we reflect, and we say thank you. To our guests, thank you for showing up, for being honest, for trusting us with your stories and letting the world hear them. To our partners and sponsors, thank you for standing with us when the vision was still taking shape. Your belief gave this network its foundation. And to our audience, the ones who listened, who watched, who shared, who believed. You didn't just support DPRS Media Network, You built it. This past year changed everything. We grew our shows, we raised our standards, we reached new communities, and we told stories that needed to be told. From parks and recreation to sports, youth, technology, and culture. We learned something important. Growth isn't about numbers, it's about impact. As we grow, our mission becomes clear. Our mission is to create media that matters, media that educates, media that inspires, media that connects people through honest, human storytelling. To spotlight the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping parks, recreation, sports, and the future of our shared spaces. And our vision is bold. We envision a media network that doesn't just document the world, but helps shape it, where local voices spark global change, where communities see themselves reflected, and where media is a force for good. The future ahead is bigger than any single episode. More voices, more stories, more collaboration, live events, original films, deeper conversations, and a growing community united by purpose. From episode 1 to episode 400, thank you for believing when it was hard. Thank you for staying when it was uncertain. And thank you for walking this journey with us. This is DPRS Media Network, built by community, driven by purpose, powered by stories. And we're just getting started.
All right. I did want to make one little announcement before we get started with Jody. We actually added our Friday show at the 1:30 time slot is now going to be an aquatic show, which launches the first Friday of next month. And that will complete our 1:30 time slot so that now we have a show every day at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. We start with our Smart Parks Forward, which is our technology show, hardware show. And that's and then followed by today's show, immediately follow this show, which is On the Front Line. That's all about MWR and the Military Rec Show. And then we have the Rec Room on Wednesdays, and we have our Youth Sports Mastery Show on Thursday. And the last edition was we have a show just dedicated to aquatics every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So as we try to fill up every single time slot throughout the day, this was our first one. And I'm on none of these shows. So these are all shows run by specialists in those different categories. And that just kind of takes another great step forward to creating nonstop programming for the Parks and Rec community. And today's show is going to be focused mostly on rec coordinator and programming, which is a big chunk of what Parks and Rec does. And this is Jody's life. So welcome again to the show, Jody. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, in the early days, how you got involved in Parks and Rec? Were you one of these park rats that knew you were going to be a Parks Rec at the beginning, or did you kind of discover this later in life?
Yeah. So when I did grow up in the community that I work for in Apache Junction, and I know I did some youth sports growing up through Parks and Rec, but I really had no idea I was going to be in Parks and Rec. That wasn't my plan. As I went to school and after I graduated from high school, I did want to get into teaching. I wanted to do elementary education. And then, like working part-time, my first part-time job was retail. And then, so I'm located at our multi-generational center, and I started coming here like to work out, and a lot of my friends were working here. So I always wanted a job here just because my friends were here. I had no idea, like, what?
I've never heard that expression before, multi-generational complex. So explain that. The first time I've heard that.
It's like it's essentially like a YMCA. And they're really growing here in Arizona. So like if you've talked to anyone from Queen Creek, they just got their giant one. They have like 3 basketball courts. But anyway, about ours. So ours is smaller. But essentially it has amenities for all generations. This is where we operate our senior services daily. We have lunch and other activities. We have the gymnasium, we have a rock wall, a game room, a kids club, and a fitness center.
Oh, and so I guess maybe Instead of that, some people will have like teens in one part of in one location, and then seniors in another location. And so this is an effort to kind of bring them all under one roof. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So like I would say like in Buckeye, there's a lot of different community centers where, or even like in the West Valley, where it's just as simply an adult center, like 18 plus, and then they
Mhm.
have the community centers for the families. But yeah, ours, it's a combination of one.
Nice, nice. And so tell us more about that then.
Sure. About the
Well, like when did y'all open this, or this is kind of a
Oh,
newer thing for
sure.
y'all?
It is newer. I believe it opened in 2005.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, we just hit like 20 years here at the facility anyway.
Oh, fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay, so then back to your journey into how you kind of got into it.
Yeah, yeah. So my friends were working here. And so I had like volunteer a couple times and like the staff just saw me around. Um, and it took a couple tries to actually, because like, the HR process and how they vet the applications, like it wouldn't go through. And then finally it went through. So I've been with the city now about 11 years. Um, so I started part-time. I was working both jobs and yeah, and then so starting as a part-time recreation leader, it was really, simple stuff. It was working what we call Rove, which is a rotation of watching the kids on the rock wall,
Mhm.
doing the kids club, cleaning the upstairs fitness area, and then, like front desk customer service. And then eventually I was promoted to a part-time supervisor, which we call a senior recreation leader here. And then again, I was still working both jobs. Eventually it was too much. I focused on this job and then eventually went full-time as a senior rec leader, and then went to a recreation assistant, which is another full-time position.
Mhm.
And as I was a recreation assistant, and I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I will say, it's like sounds bad, but like working here in recreation helped me realize I didn't want to be a teacher. Like I love working with kids, but it's a lot. I like respect teachers a lot. It's a lot to work with them every single day.
And what are some of the major differences that you kind of realize? Because I know a lot of times when you're young, you think you wanna be a nurse, and then you
Mhm.
see blood and you're like, "Okay, I can't handle this," obviously, but you don't figure that out till later. So what are some of the things that you maybe thought going into wanting to be a teacher that you discovered? No, I
Yeah.
kinda learned the process.
Well, I've always loved working with kids.
Uh-huh.
And then so that was kind of the idea. And then I guess growing up too in Apache Junction, it's a growing community, but it still is like it's been a smaller um, city and it has like a small town feel. And I
Mhm.
honestly just didn't know what was out there. So like, you know, I guess teaching of like all the things I knew, teaching was the most appealing. And then discovering like for working for Parks and Rec, I thought, it was just a multi-gen center. I didn't realize Parks and Rec was such a huge field. Um, and then, yeah. And then, so again, like working with the kids, of course it's fun, but I just realized the stress of
Right.
working with kids every single day.
Yeah.
um, yeah. And then, so recreation assistant, 2020 COVID hit. And I personally, like, I was a lot more involved in like our programming. Um, we still programmed a lot. Our director and my supervisors were like awesome about making sure that us as staff, we were considered essential and that we were able to continue working even with doors closed. We still did like lunches for seniors. We did online programming or take home kits. And then during that time frame was when I kind of realized like I really love doing this and I want to learn more and I want to grow in the field. Um, so I went back to school. I went to Arizona State University, and I went for, so it was like a little bit broader. I went
Mhm.
for public service and public policy. And yeah, because then as well, a degree is needed here in our department to become a recreation coordinator.
Mm.
And then I've now been a coordinator for just a bit over a year now.
Can you kind of describe for people that aren't familiar with Parks and Recreation and all the terminology, how would you define rec coordinating and versus rec programming?
Yeah, depending on like the city, so it's like interchangeable, depending on the city, but rec coordinating, rec programming. Normally a rec programmer is the one like focused on, I'd say, running the programs, like um like the camp, the arts and craft classes, and essentially planning those. And then now my role as a coordinator, I still have like a lot of say in the programming, but I also take more of a back seat. And I'm doing more of like the behind the scenes and the paperwork. So unfortunately, like it's definitely like fulfilling. I love like my job right now as a coordinator, but it also has become a lot more of a serious and you have to do the boring stuff essentially.
Yeah.
But
Now,
it's important.
maybe describe all the different things that can fit in the programming bucket. Like when I think programming, I'm thinking maybe like an arts class or something for kids, or maybe a STEM program. But maybe just name a few others that fit in that. What is programming, and the communities that it serves?
Sure. Like what type of programs
Yeah,
we do?
what type of programs?
Sure. We're all like separated into our different areas as well. So me as a coordinator, I oversee senior services and school age programming. We have another coordinator who oversees special interest. And then another coordinator who oversees youth and adult sports. So, and within all those sections, there's their separate programs. So under my section, so I have one of our programs for teens is a youth advisory council. Again, there's the intersession camps. So we work with the local school districts, school schedule to be able to offer the camp for the kids to go to while school's out. We have cooking with kids, again, the arts and craft classes, the youth sports and adult sports. We offer flag football, t-ball. Sorry, I'm like blinking all of them. Basketball, special interest. So special interest is more bringing people outside to like come do classes for us. So we've had a lot of different things. We recently had like a sound healing class.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so someone was just posted in one of our art rooms and did that. They've done as well, so we also have the aquatics, and then they do their own separate programming at the pool. And they also had like a sound bath there where they had someone come and people got to meditate on the water as they did like the sound.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it's crazy just the range of things like offered and that you can do through Parks and Rec.
Now, I'm curious, kind of like a little side quest of our talk here. How have y'all engaged that teenage group that tends to be a group that's hard to keep engaged? And a lot of times we lose them in those teenage years. And then when they start having families, we pick them back up. But tell me about y'all's teenage programs and what y'all have done to try to keep them engaged.
Sure. Yeah. No, it is hard. It's like constantly a learning process. And everyone is so different, like, especially, people in general, they're like so unique, so different. It's not a one size fits all. And especially for teens, they definitely show like their different personalities. So especially with the Youth Advisory Council, because it's not, the group is meant to help teens like learn about their local government, get involved in the community, and volunteer. So, on paper, it sounds pretty boring, probably to a teenager. And then but luckily we're able we do like a couple of socials throughout the school year. It runs through the school year to get them, reward them for the work that they've done, but to also help them bond. And then so something I tried doing new this past school year is we try to we do meetings twice a month. And before just getting straight to business, try to let them have time to bond and snack, or we'll do an activity. this next upcoming meeting, because it's been a while since we've done like an offsite. So we'll normally do our meetings here at the Multi-Gen Center, but we try to do an offsite, and also like to teach them about what local parks there are, because some of them don't even actually realize what amenities and facilities are here in their community. So our next meeting will be at a park, and then it's more relaxed and casual. Then we'll bring out, sports equipment. I might bring some snacks, or we'll do a potluck. And a lot of them end up being really surprised at how much fun that they're having. So that's good. So I think it's really important to like cater to their interests and like ask, their opinion, what they want to see. Here at the Multi-Gen Center, also for teens, we now offer free Teen Fridays, which is really important. I mean, it keeps them, out of trouble, gets them here to the facility. There's still, issues with some teens, but then it's a good place to be here and like help mentor them, teach them, what consequences are in a safe way. But yeah, a lot come, they get to play basketball, use the game room and the rock wall, all for free on those Fridays.
Oh, fantastic. Well, free. And I remember I used to run a little boys club, and anytime we had like free pizza, that was like the magnet to get them.
Yes, that too. Free food. Yeah, they love free food.
Yeah, that'll bring them in. And then a rock wall, that's got to be a big draw for them.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what are some of the things that you've kind of learned over the years as far as programming, maybe when you first got into programming, maybe after doing it? Because I know in Parks and Rec, they're notorious for just throwing you in the weeds and just saying, figure it out, learn on the job kind of stuff. What were some of the personal skills that you realized you needed to shore up, and kind of what did you learn along the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say definitely like not taking things too seriously. Of course, you do want to take things seriously, especially when it comes to safety and liability. But like realizing, like being able to pick and choose like what's important and what's not. Definitely being able to have like self-composure, especially because a lot of things can happen last minute as well, working with kids or events, with emergencies. And honestly, I mean, it takes the practice and experience to get used to it. So definitely too, just being not afraid to like put yourself in certain situations and take on new things. Like as corny as all this sounds, like not being afraid to fail, because then that's how you learn. And I think it's important as like a leader to show your staff that they shouldn't be afraid to fail, and that they should, be willing to step up, try things without, severe repercussion, as long as, again, safety and liability is taken into consideration.
Right. Are there any events kind of that you can remember as a unique case that you kind of learned from in the early days?
Events.
Any face plants or
more so in our camps with the kids.
Yeah,
that's for sure. One that comes to mind, well, we've had, like just kids with behavioral issues. So it's important to like react calmly to that. Like we've had some kids who just, I don't know, they get upset. And so we essentially have to keep everyone else safe, escort them out and like keep the kids safely secluded in a room. They might be like throwing around chairs and backpacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also important for, us to be calm when trying to talk to them. So I would say that's like one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And then,
were there any times that you, because I know a lot of this subject is just that emotional intelligence, like you said, maintaining your composure. How has that kind of evolved for you over the years? And is there any classes or books that you've kind of recommended, or any ongoing education that have kind of helped you in those areas?
Sure. Yeah, again, like experience makes a big difference. Like the more, like I remember being so afraid as like a part-time supervisor if like something were to happen, like even just like an incident here at the Multi-Gen Center. Because there's been plenty of those as well, like medical procedures. But as long as I think it's important to, so we constantly have like, it's not a certification, but like an AED, CCR training. Like even if, you know, it doesn't happen often, that's makes it even more important to take those trainings. So like taking them as much as possible, so you have that knowledge in the back of your head, you can feel confident if something were to happen. And then again, yeah, just the more it happens, I guess, yeah, the more you get used to it, the more experience, you just realize certain things happen and you know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
I have read actually a lot, but I can't like name any specific things. Just over time, I've definitely read a lot of different things about emotional intelligence, and I think that has definitely helped a lot.
Yeah. Are there any, does the state associations or NRPA or any of that offer stuff specifically for rec coordinating and programming?
Through APRA, we do offer, or like they do trainings, yeah, like every so often. Normally, yeah, related to Parks and Recreation. I know that I'm blanking, but today there actually is a tech summit going on. One of my other staff, she went to it. And it's not just about tech. There will be people talking about like leadership and then programs for Parks and Rec. So they offer often little things like that, like offsite trainings, but as well online trainings. Yeah.
Okay. Now, and this is, I usually do this at the end of the show, but I'm curious, you know, what is your why as far as why you kind of have chosen to continue after 11 years to dedicate your life to Parks and Rec? What do you find fulfilling about it?
Yeah. There's, I mean, quite a few things fulfilling about it. I would say like first, I'm very proud to represent Apache Junction. Like growing up, we like kind of always got a bad rep. So it's nice to be able to show that like a lot of good people do come from Apache Junction, and to like represent it in a positive light, and it is continuing to grow and expand and get that better reputation. So I love being able to give back to the community, and I'd say it's really the small things, like especially with our seniors here who come to the lunch every day. They're just so like thankful for the tiniest things, like because a lot of them, they're now like, we have some who come in on the van, and a lot of them too, like this is what they look forward to during the day. So simply decorating the tables for a party, they give like endless thanks afterward. So definitely like little things like that. Again, and then with the intercession camps as well, being able to provide like a safe space for kids. Sometimes camp is what they look forward to, compared to, you know, being at home. Even like the Yak kids, they're like, I'd rather be here hanging out with my friends than doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And those senior centers actually mean so much to a lot of those seniors that are kind of at the stage in their life where they might be fighting isolation and being alone. And I really want to do a whole show just on senior centers because it's such a great topic, and it's such a big part of what Parks and Rec does. Okay, well, we're kind of approaching the middle of the show, so I wanted to talk about the two little promos that we're playing. But we just got back from the IRPA conference in Illinois, which is a huge conference. I think it's the biggest state. I think they had like 4,000 people attend that one. And so we were able to create a little promo for that. When we come back, I also want to talk about Arizona's Parks and Rec Association, because I know it's one of the more successful ones and one of the bigger ones. So we'll play that promo, and then we also are going to promote one of our other shows called The Athlete's Commute. It's a really cool concept. With our host is Jordan Ziff. She's a former professional soccer player for Brazil. She's out of California. And so her concept was to imagine picking up your favorite female pro athlete on the way to practice or on the way to a game and get to talk to them kind of behind the scenes, like a backstage pass about how they prepare for the game and how they prepare for, practice and stuff. And so we'll run those two promos. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the state associations and finish up our conversation with Jody. Jovi, if you want to go ahead and play those, we'll play those and come right back.
This year, we didn't just attend an event. We became part of something bigger. IPRA 2026 brought together leaders, innovators, and community builders, all united by one mission: to strengthen parks, recreation, and the people they serve. For DPRS Media Network, it was an honor to join IPRA 2026 and take part in meaningful, real-time conversations, capturing stories and amplifying voices that matter. To IPRA, thank you for creating a space where collaboration thrives and the future of parks and recreation is shaped together. We extend our deepest gratitude to Amelia and all our partners who made these live interviews possible. IPRA 2026 wasn't just an event, it was a reminder that when communities connect and stories are shared, impact follows. From all of us at DPRS Media Network, thank you, IPRA. Thank you, partners and sponsors. We're honored to stand with you and excited for what's next.
Before the game, before the lights, before the pressure, there's a moment most people never see. Welcome to The Athlete's Commute, a podcast distributed by DPRS Media Network, co-produced by Her Sports, and hosted by Jordan Ziff. Each episode, Jordan gets behind the wheel, driving athletes to practice, to training, to game day, while getting to know who they really are beyond the jersey. The mindset, the grind, the sacrifices, the moments no one talks about. No scripts, no filters, just real conversations in real motion. Because every athlete has a journey, and every journey deserves to be heard. This is The Athlete's Commute. Buckle up.
All right. So let's talk a little about the state associations in Arizona. How active have you been in there, and what has that kind of been like?
Yeah, I've been pretty active. I'm currently on I should remember that. Like, I think benefits and engagement committee. And essentially I just started on it, so I haven't done too much with the committee yet, but essentially benefit and membership engagement. So the committee is responsible, kind of like spreading the word and like giving education on like what benefits are available with an APRA membership, and also like helping plan the little socials that get members engaged and together. And then I love volunteering at the conference. I've done that pretty much every year. I plan to do that again this upcoming year. It's a great way to like network and be involved. And I think it's definitely important. I mean, this, the association like offers and does so much for us as Parks and Rec employees. So I think it's definitely important to give back to that. And essentially it is volunteer run. There's only 3 employees that run the association, and then a lot of it is volunteer. And then I've also spoken just a little bit. I spoke a little bit last year's conference. But yeah.
Now, what are the benefits that you kind of highlight to new members?
Sure. Some of the benefits. So like when it comes to the trainings or the classes that you had asked about, or like today's tech summit, when you get the membership, for the most part, a lot of those things that end up being free for you with the membership, outside of like getting your continuing education units, you do get invited, and you can go to the special socials for free as well. There is also the availability to pay, but of course you want free. And then again, you get the access to conference, So yeah, I would say like those are definitely the biggest benefits, that's for sure. And then it's a great way to network with other people. And the people who join this association aren't just like Parks and Rec departments either. It might be like I'm pretty sure like different playground distributors are a part of it. So people who like want to be able to connect with the Parks and Rec departments themselves can also join this association. It's a great way to do that.
I see. I see. Now, you had mentioned something earlier about how y'all were able to keep the Parks and Rec department considered an essential service. I know a lot of Parks and Rec departments during COVID got completely defunded and shut down until things got up and running. How were y'all able to kind of keep yourself essential?
Yeah. So again, I mean, since like we're the multi-gen center, we offer the lunches here. So that was one way, was we did the drive-through lunch just outside our facility. So the kitchen staff would still come make the food, and we just bring it out on a warmer and like have it sealed. And so we had them like line up essentially like a drive-through and then like take their meal home. When it came to the ones who ride the van in weekly, we would distribute a food box. So ourselves, we would just get in one of our city vehicles and distribute those boxes. When it came to like youth and everything like that, again, a lot of like online programming. We got into doing like YouTube videos, virtual programming. We'd make little kits for people to pick up. So we'd make arts and craft kits so that they could come pick them up and take them home and do them. We also offered, as kind of like restrictions started to go away, if that's the right way to say it. Yeah. We did offer a like limited time program for kids to come in. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Kids to come and like do their schoolwork, because the kids were working on their computers at home. So we offered a space for parents to drop them off, and they had to, be distanced like so much from each other. They had to wear masks. So a lot of just different things like that. And a lot of them are part-time too, got involved with like cleaning the playgrounds. They helped clean cop cars. So like anywhere, they helped paint the MGC inside.
Nice.
So anywhere like people needed assistance, work was offered.
Yeah. Now, we actually made a video. I don't know if you saw it. It's probably one of our most viewed videos that we've created through the media company, but it was why Parks and Rec should be considered essential services. Have you seen that one by any chance?
I don't think so.
Okay, I want to play it for you, and I'd love to get your feedback on it. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, when we come back from that, I'd like you to think that you're standing in front of a group of elected officials that are deciding whether they should keep Parks and Rec open or closed because they're not essential. What would be your message to them? So I'll play this real quick, and love you to give that testimony to the elected officials that have, budgetary control over Parks and Rec. So we'll play that and then get your feedback on that.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety. A playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So, what would be your message to election people?
I feel like it said everything. No, I was like nodding along the whole time is like so true. And there's like definitely points that come up where I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right. So just a single message.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Yeah. Well, oftentimes the people in charge of funding Parks and Rec are not in Parks and Rec. And so they think, okay, we can't shut the police down, we can't shut the fire department or the hospital down. But these other are kind of, maybe we can just shut them down for a year and it won't really affect the community. But because you work directly with the community and the seniors and the families and the single moms, I think maybe you'd be in a good position to speak, to say, wait, this is super important and here's why.
Sure, definitely. I mean, it's tough because I haven't had to do that. But yeah, I would definitely, explain again, like the importance of like the mental health. And especially like I have this line wrong, but one line I've heard is essentially like education and recreation over I messed it up. Education and recreation over incarceration.
Yeah.
So essentially, yeah, like all those services are essential, but like Parks and Rec provides, like your quality of life, well-being. When people are happy, they're thriving, like crime rates are going to go down. People are going to be safer. And the whole community is just going to like thrive and be more cohesive. And that's like another, like, I forgot, like, I always used to love working events. I mean, I still love working events, but that was my most favorite thing when I was part-time starting, because I love how the big events bring the community together. Like, we forget that there's, especially like today, like so much, divisiveness and like differences. But at the events, like people are getting along. They're, just together, enjoying the event and everything.
Yeah. I love that phrase. I think I'm going to steal that one when you said education and recreation over incarceration.
Yeah. I think like our very first director, I never really met him, but I was working when he was here. His name is Jeff Bell. So I just have to make sure that that's mentioned. I think he used to say that all the time.
Yeah. We actually have, so one of our co-hosts that helps create the Rec Room podcast out in Henry County, Georgia, he comes from the prison system, and he worked with people that, didn't have, what we have in Parks and Recreation. And so he saw what happens when we have an unhealthy community. And I feel like Parks and Rec is kind of like the proactive side of a community's efforts to create a healthy community, and hospital, fire, and health are like the reactive side. It's kind of like when you have an unhealthy body. Well, now you've got you're kind of trying to cure what went wrong, whereas Parks and Rec make sure that something never really does go wrong because you have a healthy community and a healthy child or a place that they can learn and grow. Versus on the back end when you've got a real problem and now you've got to get the police involved or something, like a healthcare system involved.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question for you is, What would be your testimony to undecided college kids that really don't know what they want to do with their life and they really haven't picked a career choice? What
Mhm.
kind of message would you give to them of why they should maybe consider Parks and Recreation as a fulfilling career path like yourself?
Yeah. So again, like Parks and Rec, like just the field is so vast. There's so many things you can do. So, honestly, like depending on your hobby, there's probably like a job in Parks and Rec for you to like be able to like work and play at the same time. So like people who are into sports, they could essentially like get in part time, be able to help like assist coaching, basketball, youth sports, work their way up to being a sports coordinator. Um, those who are lifeguards, and here in our own community, a lot of people do end up just staying with Parks and Rec because they do love the job so much and they get a passion. But those who are lifeguards, they might have a passion for aquatics. Again, if you just like helping people, that's a big thing in Parks and Recreation. There's
Mm.
also the even the political public service side. Like people, our director constantly has to advocate for Parks and Recreation. Yeah, there's just so
Yeah.
many different opportunities in it.
Yeah, and I love how you're highlighting the fact that there's something for every skill and talent, even if like you're in accounting and you want to get into Parks and Rec. That like
Exactly.
Parks and Rec needs accounting brains. They need
Mhm.
people that want to work with seniors, and then you've got the whole facilities maintenance side for those that have a
Exactly.
trade or a craft.
Mhm.
So if you really want to serve your community at a high level, and you can actually give back and make a difference to your community in while you're young, not after retirement when you're like, "What is my legacy? Well, how am I gonna give back?" You can start giving back when you're 20
Right.
and start
Right.
making a difference in your community. Um, Now, what do you think the future looks like for Parks and Recreation as far as I know with all this latest AI and, a lot of people are talking like there's not gonna be any jobs left when AI takes them all. What are your thoughts around, the technology stuff that's coming online right now?
Mhm. I think, I use it for, if anything, it's been a great tool, to like assist and actually get more done.
Mm.
I'm not like a creative thinker, so sometimes, and like our staff will use it to like come up with themes for programs, or if like I want to create, rather than me like just doing like a basic description of something, which is super boring, I can put it into chat to help like jazz it up.
Yeah.
So if anything, I really don't think it's getting in, as of right now, getting in the way of any jobs. I think it's a great tool to assist and like, better your job so you can get more stuff done and be more efficient. And then actually like the tech summit I mentioned today is being sponsored by Kaizen Labs, and they're essentially, because we have our different rec softwares that you use for like programs and everything like that,
Mhm.
and this one is, I guess, an AI one. I haven't been on to like see what that's like, but even they're incorporating like AI into rec software in general.
Oh, okay. So Kaizen Labs is just an AI company that kind of focuses more just on Parks and Rec?
I believe so. I
Okay.
think it's like it's specifically a rec software only.
Oh, I'll have to look them up and see if maybe we can get them
Yeah.
as a guest on the show. I might
Yeah.
ask you about that a little bit more offline because we're always looking for, the latest and greatest in software and technology that helps Parks and Rec be more
Sure.
efficient with their
They probably
time
love
and money.
it, but I don't know.
Okay, so we'll move on to the question of the day. This question comes from our previous guest, episode 433, Sean over in, El Mirage, actually from the same state of Arizona. And so
Yes.
his question to you is what are some of the great ways you have invested in your staff when it comes to personal care and making sure that they're not getting burnt out and that they're taking care of themselves?
Yeah. Um, with my staff, luckily, I have a pretty small amount of staff,
Mm.
and we see each other every day. So luckily, it's not hard to communicate with them. We do try to do at least like a weekly sit down meeting just to be on the same page about what's going on through the week. I try to, and hopefully they like agree with this. I try to, let them know that if there's any issues, of course, to come to me. I definitely try to follow through anytime they do come up with a concern, to show like I care, that the integrity is there. And luckily, because I know this isn't the case everywhere, but I think it's the case with a lot of Parks and Rec departments. We do like a lot of team bonding on our own time as well, which I think is important. And like you can keep it like professional. Something we even just started doing within our division is like somebody comes up with a social for the month. So like our supervisor, she asked that like each department come up with a social for us to do. So like we've gone ice cream together. But then again, with my own staff, like I've invited them over to my house. We had a Korean barbecue night.
Oh, nice.
So like little things like that. And then again, yeah, keeping like an open door, being open to like their feedback and their concerns, not taking things personally, and being there to support them. But also like keeping those boundaries is like really important, I think.
Yeah. Now, does that change at all when you're working with kind of the younger volunteer or part-time crowd, like the lifeguards or the camp counselors, volunteers or anything like that?
I would say, since you don't see them as often, that makes like they might not care so much to like do those things like with the group. But I think it's important that it's still offered anyway. And then also like it's, a no pressure thing. Like if that's something that they don't want to do, that's totally fine. And then again, going back to like unique personalities, like trying to figure out what it is that like would motivate them in their jobs. And just like checking in, as much as possible. Obviously, like you can't be constantly chatting them up, but like when you see them, remembering like little things that they've told you, like if they have a concert, or like even like just letting them know, like, oh, you have a sports game coming up, let me know when it is, I'll see if I can make it. And they really appreciate those things.
Yeah. Okay. And then I have a little fun question for you. If you had to be a piece of playground equipment, what would it be and why?
Piece of playground equipment. Piece of playground equipment. The first thing that comes to mind is like those springy animals.
Oh, I love those.
Like we have two out in our playground, like a duck and something else. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
I think the old ones were almost like death traps, and now they seem a little more nerve.
Like flinging the kids off.
Yeah,
what
that's
would
a
you
fun
be?
one. Oh my goodness. I think I would want to be. Well, when I grew up, we had these slides that are no way safe, but those 15-foot tall steel slides that you reach like 100 miles an hour, and there was a big and there was a pile of kids pushing you over the edge at the top. I used to love those. You don't see those anymore. I don't think they're
Can't
ADA
have those in
approved.
Arizona now.
Yeah, right. You'd like. Okay, so what question would you like to leave for our next guest?
Yeah, my question was if you had unlimited resources, what would you want to be able to offer to your community?
Oh, that's a good one. So if you had unlimited resources, what would you like to offer to your community? And what would be your answer to that one?
Oh, dang it. I wasn't thinking about that. What would I be able to offer? I would love to something that they're always asking for, and this isn't even like my department, so I know this would be a lot of work on other people's ends, but we don't have a pool here at our multi-gen center. We have a pool in the community that's shared with the school. So again, this is the first thing that comes to mind. Probably being able to build a pool here for the community.
Yeah, that's super important. And it is a big price tag. I'm shocked at how much aquatic centers cost.
Yeah, definitely.
But really, if it weren't for the cities being able to pay that, a lot of kids wouldn't have access to it. So it really is
Mhm.
vital, especially teaching like a life-saving skill like swimming. Um,
Definitely.
well, Jody, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing everything about rec coordinating programming with us, and another great professional from the state of Arizona. And hopefully, y'all will be one of the, I think, 9 shows that we'll be attending this year. I think in August, correct? Is y'all state association
Yeah.
coming up?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think end of August.
Yeah, so hopefully we can bring the show on the road, and we end up doing about 30 live shows. They're much shorter. It's like 15-minute check-ins, and so
Okay.
if you're there and we do it, I'd love to have you just to kind of check in
Awesome.
and let us know how the convention's going for you.
That'd be awesome. Hope you guys
Yeah.
can make it.
Yeah, me too. Well, I appreciate all the work that you're doing for your city, and thank you for coming on today's show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care, Jody. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so that was another great leader from the Arizona, two in a row, her and Sean. Hopefully we can pull it off and make it to the state association there in Arizona. I know in 2 weeks we will be attending the California Parks and Rec Society. And so stay tuned for that one. We're actually co-creating a podcast with the state association. They have a little podcast called Push to Play, and we're helping them to launch that and create it. And so we're trying something new over there where they take half the shows and we take half the shows. And so part of it will be me interviewing people, and we'll actually have a couple of our hosts, our co-hosts there. So Dave will be there and Aaron Locks will be there. So we ought to have plus the hosts from CPRS. So I think that's going to be a great show that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. So check that out. And then just wanted to re-highlight that immediately following this show, every Tuesday, we do a weekly show called On the Front Line, the Military Rec Show, with our co-host, John Prue, who's been in MWR. For those that you don't know, MWR is basically Parks and Rec for the military. And so every military base has essentially a Parks and Rec department embedded in it to help the soldiers kind of reboot, refresh, and to stay battle ready. And the whole show is dedicated to that. So that's every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, we did officially lock in our last 1:30 p.m. time slot for the week with Wesley. He is one of the greatest aquatic specialists, I think, in America. And he is helping us to co-create a show all about aquatics. That's going to be every Friday, starting the first Friday of March. We're going to produce a show all on aquatics. So now the 1:30 time slot, Monday through Friday, is completely full. We've got Monday, our show with the Smart Parks Forward. That's with David Ramirez, talking about hardware and technology coming into parks and recreation. Tuesday, today, is our On the Front Line show. Wednesday, we co-produce a show with Henry County, Georgia, called The Rec Room. And we're also launching a show about neurodivergence and having Parks and Rec being like a safe place to work for all the different personality traits and stuff. That's also going to be one day a month on Wednesdays at the 1:30 p.m. time slot. Now, of course, on Thursdays, we've got the Aaron Lux show, which is Youth Sports Mastery. And he's done such a great job. He was our first show outside of this show, the Leadership Series, and then followed by our newest show Friday, which is the Aquatics show. So stay tuned for that. We actually, and I will be hosting none of their shows. So that's kind of the beauty of it, is we're having these standalone shows that are talking about the different components of parks and recreation. So I'm really excited about that. And I really wanted to give a big shout out to everybody that's working hard on the DPRS media team, producing this content and getting it out there. And big shout out to all of our show guests like Jody that come on and help tell the story and elevate the career path of parks and recreation. So appreciate y'all tuning in today. If you want to take a little short break, We will be right back with On the Front Line with John Prue, the Military Rec Show, every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And that'll be starting here in about another half hour. So we'll see y'all there in a bit. Jovi, if you want to go ahead and run the last 2 promos, we'll see y'all in a minute.
They say it's Just Rec. Just Rec, where kids learn to try again. Just Rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs. We're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product? Growing your presence in public spaces? Targeting cities, counties, or departments? DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.